Welcome back, viewers and subscribers, to what is the mayhem of Project RnB. When we last saw Project RnB in part 1, we had it completely torn down, all the components out of it, getting ready to be wiped down, cleaned, and put back in. Since then, we have the XSPC dual bay Rez pump combo back in its rightful spot. And then we have the XSPC RS360 radiator in its spot with, for now, just two fans in the back to mount it to the case. What we're going to go ahead and do from here is I'm going to put you on the tripod. I'm going to put all the fittings in their rightful spots, and I'm going to start routing the hosing, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to get that done. Here we are at the back of the case. As you can see, we have the RS360 radiator right here. We have the dual bay XSPC Rez pump combo on the other side. You go ahead and spin it around real fast for you so you can see just exactly what I'm talking about. So you can see right here, here's the outlet to the pump, and hidden almost right here is the inlet to the reservoir itself. All I'm going to be doing is just simple hosing management. There's going to be one hose line from a straight barb of the outlet of the pump, to the inlet of the radiator, which is going to be a straight barb itself also. From the outlet of the radiator, which is going to be a 30-degree angle barb, to a 90-degree angle barb for the inlet of the CPU block, which is going to be on the other side of the motherboard. Again, there's going to be a motherboard tray right here, and the motherboard is going to be on the other side of it. And then a 90-degree out of the CPU block to a straight barb into the inlet of the reservoir. It's a simple 6-point barb setup. It gets the hosing from point A to point B very short. I go over this in a tutorial to water cooling. There's a 2-part series if you want to go check out my channel. But for now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get this camera turned off. I'm going to get some work done, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. Before I go ahead and do anything else, I'm just going to show you the new tubing and some of the new fittings that I got for the build. Of course, starting off with the Enzotech 90-degree angles. I picked up 2 of these. I'm going to go ahead and replace one of my 30-degree angles I was using for the CPU with a 90-degree. I think it'll shorten things up a little bit better. But before I go on, 90-degree angles are very, very, very rare. They're very hard to find. If you ever see them, go ahead and just buy them. Just hoard them. Even if you don't do water cooling setups, hoard them and resell them on eBay for $40 because people will still buy them because they're rare to come across. When I saw them on stock, I went ahead and bought 4 of them. Even though I'm never going to use 4 of them in a build, I just to have spares. Another hint is you see all these gaskets right here. They come in neon colors. They come in yellow, green, and orange. I was using orange on my build even though the theme is red and black. On performancepcs.com, they have some of these aftermarket gaskets from Enzotech. They're red. I went ahead and picked some of these up. I think they're like $2 for 10 of them. It's just those kind of little things that you do to go the extra mile for your build to make everything look together and tie it all up. Excuse my language, so you don't half-ass the build. After that, I went ahead and picked up some new tubing. This is from Primochill. This is their red neon glowing tubing. Even though it still has a little bit of a pink tint to it, I think it'll look a lot better once you go ahead and put some distilled water in it and shine those white NZXT lights I have on them. I think it's going to look a lot better than the previous white tubing and red dye that I had in there that looked really crappy. But that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and get the build back up on the table and get things rolling for y'all. Welcome back. As you can see, I have all the barbs for the dual bay Rez pump combo and the radiator on. There's the straight on the farthest side. There's the 30-degree angle on this one. There's a straight barb on the outlet of the pump. And there's a 30-degree on the inlet of the reservoir. Again, all Enzotech fittings. I have the red gaskets in place. They're all tightened. From here, I'm going to go ahead and start routing my hosing. I have y'all at a better vantage point now. From here, I'm just going to start marking my hosing and cutting for length. As you can see, it comes in one big reel when you buy it. You buy it by the foot. I'm just going to take one of the ends. I'm going to stick it on the outlet of the pump, as so. And then from there, I'm just going to measure straight across to the inlet of the radiator. And then I'm going to cut to length. As you can see here, we have the first piece of tubing cut and trimmed from the outlet of the pump to the inlet of the radiator. It gets from point A to point B as fast as it can. It's a little bit of a bend here, but that's because it was rolled up as it was being shipped. That'll come out with time. All we need to do from here is put some clamps on it and move to the next piece of tubing. For this step, I needed to place the motherboard and the motherboard tray back in the case. I have the water block, again with the two 90-degree angles, fitted up and ready to go. I'm just going to place it in there without screwing it down. And from here, I'll be able to cut and route my hosing without actually fixating it all to the motherboard. All I'm going to do is take two screws. I'm just going to take two of the tie downs and two of the springs that it takes to hold this in place. I'm going to put one at either corner so I can just hold it down temporarily while I cut and trim the tubing. Again, from here, all you're going to do is take your tubing, grab one end of it, and measure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the outlet of the radiator to the inlet of the CPU. Excuse me if the case is moving around, it's on wheels. Just going to measure with the naked eye, just an educated guess. Take my Sharpie, I'm going to mark it. And then I'm going to cut and I'm going to trim from here. As you can see, I have the first cut done of the tubing. I'm just going to see exactly what kind of trimming I need to do from here. Honestly, first cut is perfect, almost a little too short to be in fact. As you can see, just long enough to get from point A to point B. Let me go ahead and get the second piece here from the outlet of the CPU to the inlet of the reservoir. Now again, I'm just going to put it on one of the points. For now, I'm going to use the inlet of the reservoir as my starting point. And then again, I'm just going to cut with an educated guess. Take my Sharpie, mark the point it needs to be at for the first cut. Take that back and cut it. Also, as you can see guys, look how much tubing I have. I have so much tubing left over from all of this. It's ridiculous. I buy extra tubing. Tubing is very cheap. You don't want to find out that you have too little tubing and figure out you have to order some more or wait a couple days to get your rig complete when you could have had it already, you know. It's a dime a dozen. There's no reason to not buy extra tubing when you need to. Here's the first cut. Hopefully this one goes good as the last one. I won't have to do any trimming into the inlet of the reservoir and outlet of the CPU block. And voila! That's all the tubing. That's everything routed from point A to point B as short as you can get. And honestly, this is my first time seeing it. This is the first take. This is my first time seeing it. And it looks a lot better already than the clear tubing and red dye. I'm loving this a lot better than what it originally was. I'm going to go ahead and get you off the tripod and I'm going to show you around, give you a second look at it all again. What I'm going to go ahead and do from here is I'm going to tear out the motherboard and the motherboard tray. Keep in the CPU water block, the radiator, and the res pump combo with all the tubing. Find something to set the res pump, set the CPU on. And I'm just going to go ahead and leak test it inside the case as it is now, and not have to take any of it out. It's the beauty of this mount mod dissension case. I can, have the ability to take out the motherboard tray and do all that, and not have to worry about getting any water on any of my components, and at the same time not have to take it out, put it back in, take it out, put it back in, all that bad stuff. Or, the horrible reality of having to leak test it while all your components are in there. It's not that big of a deal if you know what you're doing, but it's a little bit better peace of mind doing it this way. I'll get back to you with the results. Here we are, viewers. As you can see, I almost have everything ready to be tested for leaks. I have the CPU block zip tied to the drive bay cage, that is, and I have everything either zip tied or clamped down, barb and hose wise. You can see I use clamps in the back for the radiator and the res pump combo. I use clamps as well. Excuse the blurry camera there. Went ahead and used zip ties for the front because I think it looks a lot cleaner and a lot nicer that way. Clamps are a little bulky. I have the slave power supply here ready to go. I'm just jump starting it with a clip, a paper clip that is. Go ahead and start it up and feed water into the system. And we'll go ahead and get all the bubbles, the air bubbles pushed out by tilting the case back and forth. But for now, I'm going to put you back on the tripod and show you the process. Here's the finished product, viewers. Filled the entire loop with distilled water. Used a funnel and just slowly filled up the reservoir a little bit at a time. Let it bleed through the system, fill it up a little bit more, let it bleed through, fill it up a little bit more till the entire system was full. I actually took the entire case and moved it back and forth a little bit, as well as taking the CPU block and tilting it back and forth, getting all the air bubbles out of it. Right now it is running. As you can see, it's vibrating a little bit. I have the slave power supply running with the paperclip jump start, just to leak test everything. Just gonna let it run for about 30-40 minutes, and if there's no leaks, then we should be good. As you can see, I have the fans on the radiator. Everything's fixated. This is pretty much the finished product. After this, I just need to put the motherboard back in, put some thermal paste on the 2600K, and slap the heatsink or the water block on the actual CPU, and I should be done. Then after that, it's pretty much just cable management and getting the graphics cards. This has been another JCP video. This is Jesse from Jesse's Custom PCs, out.
For any information on getting your very own custom-built PC from Jesse's Custom PCs, feel free to visit jessescustompcs.weebly.com for information on what there is to offer, what the process is comprised of, and how to get in contact with me. This video is a trademark of JCP.